Hello friends, welcome back. In this new video series, I'll be discussing ERP app development using Angular and Firebase. As you know, there are tons of different ERP modules in market. I will cover modules like bookkeeping, supply chain, procurement, CRM, buy to pay, order fulfillment and inventory, etc. I've learned a lot, but I'm not sure how much I can cover and fit it all in one such video series. So I'm going to start slow and slowly I will add more and more modules in later videos as we progress. Now these videos are very basic community version and does not include lots of advanced functionalities yet, but I will give you enough input in follow-up videos so that you can customize this app depending on your business requirements. Now one thing keep in mind, if you need a pro version, please feel free to reach out to me through my channel's About Us page. These apps are very flexible and enterprise ready. What does mean that tools we are going to use, it can handle very small like databases like MySQL or Firebase, a very huge ERP. What does mean that if you already have a huge ERP system like PeopleSoft, Oracle CRM, or maybe SAP, so you can always create a front end in Angular or Flutter and you can connect your application to this huge ERPs. What my point is that these technologies can handle big or small data very equally good. One more thing I'm going to cover in this video is how to set up a complete role-based security systems. That means you will have an admin which has the complete control over who can access your app. Now, one more thing, this app can be built in Flutter or Angular. One more thing, please do not treat these tutorials as an Angular tutorial series. It's not about Angular or Flutter. It's about how you can use these technologies and build a real-life application. I also want to call out that this tutorial assumes that you have a fundamental Angular.io understanding. So you should have some web development background before you can go ahead and start making this application. All right, let's get started. So if you're a pro developer and you have experience in programming, you don't need to watch the entire series. What you can do, I'm going to share the entire source code free of cost. Okay, so you can download the entire source code through my GitHub repository, and I'm going to add the link to my this video description. You can download the entire source code. One thing, this apps is built in Angular 9.1.0. That's the latest Angular release as of today. If there is a new Angular release comes in near future, what I will do, I will go back and change this repository and update the source code. Please do not forget to give it a star. That definitely means a lot to me. Now, if you get into trouble or if you have any issues, please do not comment on the YouTube videos. Instead, use this GitHub repository, go to the issues and open a new issue log. Now, also please do not forget to include all the source code or maybe the screenshot, those kind of a thing. That definitely is going to help me a lot to help you better so that I can reply back. All right, so now let me take this repository. I'm going to show you how you can install it locally on your machine. First thing you will need is a code editor. Now Android Studio is my number one choice for code editor, followed by IntelliJ Community Edition and then the Visual Studio. Now depending on your personal preference, you can choose any of these code editors. Personally, for this purpose, because it's a TypeScript and Angular, I like Visual Studio. So I'm going to use Visual Studio in my rest of the video series. Please download it depending on your environment like Windows or Linux machine. Download the latest Visual Studio. Right now, I assume that you already have Visual Studio up and running. So let me get started. Next thing you will need is the Node.js. So Node.js again is a JavaScript runtime framework engine. So again, depending on versions, I would go with the current version. So just go ahead and download the latest current version. And one thing I would like to do it, I do not like the exe. So I just download the source code, the entire zip, and download it locally into the machine. What you need to do, it will download a zip file. All you need to do, take the zip file and extract it to any non-elevated folder. That means any folder like under C drive, just create any folder. You just need to extract all of those zip files into that folder. Now, once you do that, you may want to change the folder name. So for example, I have this Amit LA under program. You see, I keep all my executables inside this one. I created a folder called node, and inside that node folder, I extracted everything. Next thing you have to do, depending on the Windows environment, if you are in Windows environment, you have to set up the environment path. So that it can find the environment, your Windows machine should be able to find the node.exe file. All right, next thing you want to do, head out to your Visual Studio, open any terminal window. You want to type node-v. Node- will tell you the exact version you have in your machine. Next command you want to shoot is npm-v. npm comes pre-built with the node, so you don't need a separate installation, but it's always a good idea to check what kind of npm version you have. Next thing, to install Angular, you have to do npm install -g, that means global, @angular/CLI. So what this command is going to do is going to install the latest Angular CLI version on your local machine. I already have that, so I'm not going to do that again. After this, you shoot this command, you have to check the version. So ng version will tell you what kind of Angular version you have on your machine. So as you can see, as of now, 9.0.4 is the latest version I have, which is running on my machine. Now it's time to create a new project. So you have to pick any directory, any favorite directory, or like anywhere you want to host a new application. Just go change to that directory, and inside that directory, all you need to do is ng new. So ng new CRM, and I'm going to say CRM underscore latest. Once you hit that command, it's going to create a new project. It's going to ask you for a couple of settings. So for example, do you want to set up the routing? Say yes. Next thing is, do you want to use the CSS or advanced CSS framework? As you can see, it gave me an error because it didn't like the underscore. So I have to go fix it. I'm going to name it as ng new CRM hyphen latest. So now hit enter, and it's going to ask the same thing again, routing, and it's going to ask you, do you want which kind of CSS, that means cascading style sheet, you want to use in your project. Now, again, I want to call it out here. I did not intend to create a new project. I'm just showing you how to create a new project because I already have created this project and I have hosted it into the GitHub repository. So instead of creating a new project, I'm going to download the version I have hosted and I'm going to make that work. So the difference is I'm not asking you to create a new project. I am just going to use the existing project. So let's go head out to our GitHub repository and download the source code. All right, so head out to our GitHub repository. And again, I'm going to include the link to this GitHub repository in this video description. All you need to do, either you can fork this or you can just download the zip folder. So I'm going to say download zip and save it under download directory. Now you need to extract all of these files. You can copy this folder and please paste it to the folder where you wanted to create a new project. So I'm going to take this, copy this entire folder, go back to the folder where I created the new project called CRM-latest. I don't need this, so I'm going to delete this. Let me get out of this, Control C, CRM latest. Let me delete this. And I'm going to copy this here. Okay, so now my project is already copied out there. Now, again, my project is ready to use, but before I make it use, I have to install the node modules. So let's go open the command prompt window again. Now cd into that directory. Okay, all you need to do here, make sure that you're in the directory where you can see the package.json file. Once you see that, all you need to do npm install -- save. What this command is going to do is going to read my package.json file, take all the node module packages as it is required, and it's going to install everything one by one. Okay, all right. So as you can see, one thing, please make sure that you do not see any error. Warnings are fine, but when you're doing the installation, please make sure over and over again that you do not see any error. If you see an error, you need to go back and fix that. Once, if you don't see an error, all you need to do is ng serve --. While we are waiting for our app to finish compilation, let me show you environment settings. So you need to go to your source environment and you'll find two different files, environment.prod.ts and environment.ts. Now these are the files where you keep your database related settings. So both the files, one is for the development, other is for the production. You need to go back and make changes. That means to all the database settings, and not only the database settings, the other configuration settings like your Facebook, LinkedIn, GitHub, please make sure that these reflect your own settings. I'll come back to the settings in 1 minute, but let me show you, let me first make sure that app compiles without any error. While we are waiting, I want to mention that first time when you compile your application, it may take a little while, and the reason is because it's building all the necessary node modules before it serves the application. But subsequent compilation, it will be a lot faster. Only the first time, because it's going through all the Angular dependencies and compiling all those node modules. All right, almost done. As you can see, it compiled without any error. Again, make sure that you do not see any error. Now it may happen because as you can see right now, as of now, it is Angular 9.1, but the YouTube video, it may not match with what you see in the GitHub repository. And the reason is because I cannot come back and make changes to the videos, but my that GitHub repository, it may be the latest version, say Angular 10 or maybe 11. So in case if you get in trouble, please make sure that you open a new issue here, and I'll be happy to help you out. Or otherwise, go to the README files. So under the code, you will see the README files there, and here I will include all the latest installation instruction you can find. Okay. All right. Now I want to show you one more thing. Go to the localhost 4200, go to the web console, and here you will see a bunch of errors. But please, I want you to take a look at these errors. Now these errors will show you that there is no actual compilation error. All of these errors are showing one thing, that I need to go back and create my Firebase settings because your application is not able to find the Firebase settings. So now let's go to the Firebase, firebase.com, and go to the console. Now here I have to create a new project. So let's go to the console. Here you can create a new project, but in my case, I already have an existing project, so I'm going to make use of that. It's almost the same thing. So let's go to the Irish ERP project. First thing I'm going to, because I'm going to use the social authentication in my application, I'm going to set up the authentication. So let's go to the authentication tab, sign in methods. I want three different ways to use the social authentication. One is the email and password. So go to this one and make sure that this is enabled. Second thing, I want to use the Google authentication. So go to the Google tab, click on the edit button, and make sure you have the enabled. Third thing I want to use is the Facebook. Now Facebook is a little bit tough because Facebook, you have to create an app on the Facebook site and get their app secret, and those kind of settings you will need. So make sure you get those app secret settings here and you add it over here. Next thing I want to include, that make sure that you see two different things. Authorized domain is equals to localhost, and the other one is where your website is hosted. So please make sure that, otherwise it's not going to compile. Next thing you want to do here, go to the rule settings. So by default, there are some rule settings. I want you to copy and paste these things here. Now again, your rule setting should look like this. Now go to my GitHub repository, and here copy the latest version of all the rule settings. Please make sure that there's no spelling mistakes or no, like every single line should match as is. And I'm going to cover all of those things in very much detail in follow-up videos, that what are these rules and how to set those up. But for now, for the installation purpose, just go make sure that you copy those word by word and paste it. Again, when you're pasting it, please make sure that you do not see any error. Otherwise, it's not going to work. All right. So my rules are set up. So my authentication is set up, rules are set up. Next thing I want to set it up here is the database itself. So let's go to the database, go to the data. Okay. Now there are two different collections, user roles and user settings. So user settings is where the actual users are created. Now the user settings you do not have to create. The only collection you have to create is user roles. So under user roles, you create two roles, admin and employee. And please make sure that they look exactly like this. Otherwise, this app is not going to work. If you need that, please pause this video, take the screenshot, and make sure that your user roles collection look like this. Even there's no typo. So make sure that all the cases matches and everything. Again, under user roles, there are two documents, admin and employee. Under admin, you have four settings: delete, read, visible, write. That's how the role level security is set up. So under admin, you see delete equals to true, read, visible, write. Admin can see everything. Everything is true. If you go to the employee settings, you will see admin. So an admin will be false. Everything will be false. Of course, employee is not an admin. All right. So again, please take the screenshot, and let me show you one example how to set it up. So create a new address book string. It should be a map. Under address book, create four different fields: read, which is a boolean, equals to true; visible, which is again is a boolean, equals to true; delete, true; and write, true. So each collection, okay, should have four different settings. All right, that's how I'm asking you to set it up: address book, admin, and all the collections. So for example, you need the bare two minimum roles to set this up. Okay, please make sure that they match exactly word by word, otherwise it's not going to work. So now your authentication has been set up, rules are set up, your database collection, that means user role is already been set up. Before we go ahead, I want to show you one last thing. So under user settings, so when your app will be serving, you can go ahead and use the social authentication and log into your server. The first time when you logged in through the through your app is going to look like this. So the first time, as soon as you go back and you create, you go to your application, you use the social authentication, log into your database, is going to look like this. Now, manually, you have to come back and make yourself admin. So here, you go like this. So that's how, that's the only first time you have to do it. All the subsequent admins, your admin will take care of that. Now, the problem is the first time you have to have an admin. So how do you know your first role is admin? Your first user is admin. So for example, you figure it out that this is your user. All you need to do, this is manually you have to do only the first time, because you have to create the first admin. Otherwise, all the others, first one admin can create another admins, but the first admin has to exist. So for example, this user is an employee, you can leave him alone, but first time you go ahead and create this role and make sure that you type admin here. So this is going to be you. So that's how you create the first admin, and after that you don't have to come back to these settings and create another role or anything. Sorry, you might have to create the role, but you don't have to go to manually manipulate the role assignment here. We are going to create a separate page for it, which you can use to manage your user roles and their privileges. So now, so I think that's all the bare minimum. Now, next thing you need the Firebase settings. So that you can copy those settings to your environment.ts file. So go to the settings. Make sure that you do not copy that where Firebase config. Just copy the internal part, all those app ID and through all the way to the last. Okay, this is the only the internal settings you have to copy. Now go back here and replace those as is. So I'm going to paste this. And the same thing you have to do it in the other file. That means make sure that you change environment.prod.ts and environment.ts file. And again, make sure that it compiles. Okay. You should not see any error in your terminal window. So now let's go back here. Hopefully it's going to upload that. So it looks like there's some extra error. Let me kill this session. Let me open a new one, ngserve-open. Let me close the browser window. I don't need this. Okay, it's compiling. It compiles okay. Now let's go to the web console again and make sure that you do not see any error over there. Oops. Okay, so now I see I was missing one setting. So measurement ID. So let me add this setting here, and I have to make the same change to the environment.prod.ts file. Okay, let's go back here, compile. See, you should, so idea is you should not see any error. Okay. See, earlier it was complaining about the measurement ID. I just want to show you the error and how I debug that. So this measurement ID is actually related to the Firebase analytics. Okay, now I'm able to log in. So social authentication is working. So I just logged in, and you see it can pull it all the settings from the page. Now let me go back and show you the admin settings here. So remember, this is what I was showing you. So first time, if you are admin, you will see the admin. If you're not an admin, you will not go to see that. So let me log in with another setting, which is an employee. So let's go back here. See, I don't see that admin setting here. So that's how you control your user roles and pages the user can see. So admin can see everything in my case, but the employee cannot see the admin. Of course, the employee, otherwise employee is going to make himself an admin. All right, so let me go back and log in again as an admin. Here you go. So now you go back here and make sure that you see all the menus. All right, so we are going to cover all of this thing in very much detail, but I just want to quickly show you one more thing. In follow-up videos, you are going to see a lot of different functionalities related to the ERP apps, like CRM or buy to pay, marketing, calls register, customer, a lot of different functionalities I'm going to cover. So, but first video is about the installation. The subsequent videos I'm going to show you, I'm going to do the code walkthrough so that you can, take this code, and if you want to make changes, make it appropriate as per your business requirement, you'll be able to do that. But I am trying to cover a lot of different modules, as you can see, like accounts payable, reports on my accounts, help desk, etc. And especially the admin modules. This is the page where you can assign different roles to the different people. So in follow-up videos, I'm going to cover this in extensive details, how to set up and how the Firebase rules and everything works. In this video is all about the installation, but I'm going to cover those topics in a lot of details, how to create the first admin, how to create the other people admin, and how to control your how to deploy your whole role-based security model to your application. I hope you like this video, and please stay tuned. In follow-up videos, I'm going to cover a lot of different things. Thank you.